first race in the round of 8 for the NASCAR playoffs is in the books, but one thing has not changed is domination of Kyle Larson and that number 5 team. For the second time in his career, he has now advanced to compete for a title at Phoenix with his dominating win at Las Vegas. Now, this Vegas race was really between two drivers, Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson. While Larson swept the stages, Christopher Bell was always right there. He led the first main portion of stage number 1 before Larson took over, and Bell was always within reach. Then in the final stage, Larson had that covered until the final last green flag run. It was about 50 some odd laps. Larson got out to a big lead, but Bell, and as the run went on those fresher tires, just started closing in slowly but surely on Larson's lead. And in the final few laps, a great battle was getting ready to be set between these two drivers. And lap traffic was giving Larson a bit of a hard time, holding him up a little bit as Bell was just eating away at Larson's lead. And on the final lap, Bell was right on Larson's bumper, but Bell could not do anything about it. Larson was able to hold him off, use the blocking to his advantage to win at Las Vegas for the 22nd win of his career and his 4th win of 2023. But like I said, most importantly, advances to the championship 4 at Phoenix, where he will have the opportunity to compete for his 2nd career Cup Series title. Here's a look at the race results here. Kyle Larson wins. Christopher Bell, a great late race charge for him. Unfortunately, just 1 lap too short, finishing in 2nd place. Kyle Busch, what a great one for him in 3rd place. One of the best runs from Kyle in quite some time this year. Brad Keselowski, great one for him in 4th place. And Ross Chastain rounds out the top 5. Another good run for that one car. Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Tyler Reddick. Martin Truex Jr. scores his very first top 10 finish ever in the playoffs. How about that? It took him till race 7 in order for that to happen. And then Denny Hamlin, his teammate, rounds at the top 10. Chris Buescher in 11th place. Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, and Daniel Suarez, the top 15. Kevin Harvick in his final Las Vegas start in 16th. Michael McDowell, Austin Dillon, Corey LaJoie, and Harrison Byrne. A couple of notables you see there deep in the back of the pack. Eric Jones, who finished 28 after he had a tire go down. We saw a good amount of drivers with tire issues in this race. Chase Elliott had a a restart violation in that last green flag run on that final restart, so that's why he finished so low. Chase Briscoe spun late in the race, finished 33rd. Ty Gibbs hit the wall, had a tire go down, finished 34th, as well as Alex Bowman. He got sideways off of turn number 4 and smacked the inside wall a ton, finishes 35th. And Carson Hocevar had a tire go down in turns 1 and 2 and finishes in dead last. Here's a look at your point standings with 1 race complete in the round of 8. Kyle Larson, he can sleep with ease knowing that he will contend for a title in Phoenix, so he's locked in. His teammate William Byron +8. Martin Truex Jr. and teammate Denny Hamlin both +2. First one out, Christopher Bell -2, although he had a big gain compared to where he was when he entered into Vegas. Tyler Reddick now -16, a pretty big gap in that 6th place. -17 is Ryan Blaney, and Chris Buescher -23 in the 8th position. So my thoughts on this race was solid. I got to give props to Kyle Larson, who led 133 laps, but what should be noted in this race is that he should not even be in that position. He shouldn't have a shot at winning this race, because early in the race, the man almost lost the car off of turn number 2. That car was so dead sideways. Luckily the wall was right there to catch him and for him to keep going. There's even a giant mark on the right rear side of his car, showing that he made some pretty good contact, but that did not affect his car at all. You could maybe say even helped him, because that 5 car just kept chugging along, did not stop his momentum at all. So he saved it and won it. That typical Larson fashion. I mean, it's almost unlike Kyle Larson for him to win a race without something happening on his way to victory, whether it's something from his own doing or something that someone else did, that he just gets caught up in someone else's mess. Usually when Kyle Larson wins, a lot of times it doesn't go smoothly, especially as of late. But yeah, great one for Christopher Bell, like I said, in 2nd place position. Just 1 lap short, but now he can point his way into the championship 4. No longer does he have to really rely on maybe having a win or having a really big gain. Now he's just 2 points below his teammates, Truex and Hamlin. Now he could just point his way into the championship. We saw a good amount of non-playoff drivers have some really great runs. Talk about Kyle Busch finishing in the 3rd position, Brad Keselowski in 4th, and Ross Chastain, who I feel like had his best run in quite some time. That was the strongest I've seen the one car in a long time. So it was nice to see some non-playoff drivers mix it up with the playoff drivers in this race. I talk about Martin Truex Jr. For the first time ever in the playoffs, he has finished inside the top 10. Finally, actually, for the first time in the playoffs, he's had a top 15 finish. That's how bad Truex has been in the playoffs. Finishing in 9th after, let's be honest, he finished 9th, but the results didn't tell the full story. He did not have a top 10 car. At least I don't think so. He was struggling, really struggling in this race. His team made a call, I believe around stage 2 to stay out, and that backfired completely. Was nearly outside the top 20 at one point. So for him to get a 9th place finish, to salvage a 9th place finish, was very impressive for that 19 team to get something good, just anything positive under their belt. But they still got a lot of work they need to do. Denny Hamlin, he had a solid average race, had moments, but really wasn't a factor. Ryan Blaney had a solid race again, didn't have any big time moments. Surprising, Chris Buescher was just not there. Didn't have the speed like his teammate Brad Keselowski had. I mentioned finishing in minus 23 now, points below the cut line. Did not have a run that I felt like he would have had considering the season he had up to this point. So kind of disappointing to see the lack of speed out of the 17 car. And also the Tyler Reddick in 2311 Racing, kind of shocking to see that they weren't more competitive. We know how good Bubba Wallace is on the mile and a half racetracks, as well as Tyler Reddick is. They both have the speed. We've seen 2311 Racing have the speed on the mile and a half racetrack. So it was quite shocking to see them not continue that into the round of 8 at Vegas. But it is the same track where back in March, Hendrick Motorsports and specifically William Byron dominated that race. So it's kind of like it makes sense to see another Hendrick driver continue to dominate at Vegas. Overall, I thought the race was solid. It was much better than the spring race. The spring race was shockingly uneventful, but this race was a lot more entertaining, more exciting racing, great battles. Again, like I talked about that final 50 some odd stretch between Larson and Bell just, eating away at Larson's lead. That was pretty entertaining to watch. Some good solid 3-wide racing in mid-pack. Good job by NBC and actually showing the battles. We know if it was on Fox, they would have just stuck with the leaders, but good to see how NBC broadcasted that race. The restarts, always entertaining, always exciting. Saw some good strategy with tires, and they actually didn't matter. Like I said, we saw some drivers that did take 2 tires, to try and get some track position, and it did work for a little bit, but still 4 tires reigned supreme. I talked about Truex, stayed out. He paid the price for it, got eaten up like a rock. As soon as he lost the lead, he just fell back like a rock to nearly outside the top 20. So tire wear mattered. It still is not where it needs to be, but it improved. Tire wear did mean something. Not much, but it didn't mean something. Overall, I give this race a 7 out of 10. It was solid. Not many big moments. It was a race that had good racing, but not so many big time shocking moments that you would expect to see maybe in previous mile and a half races in the next gen car. But I thought it was solid overall, just good racing. And man, it's races like this that just make me wish that Vegas was the championship race. I so badly wish Vegas was the championship race, or at the very least, Homestead, a mile and a half racetrack. Now, I know that Vegas will probably never have a championship race because it's an SMI racetrack. We know it's the championship. There's going to be some type of backstage politics. NASCAR is going to want to have their track host their championship. So, yeah, our only hope is Homestead, let's be honest. But, yeah, as we look into the next 2 races in the round of 8, the next race coming up is Miami. Larson, we know he's locked in, but I'm very interested in seeing what other drivers like Martin Truex Jr. He ran really good last year, nearly had a shot at winning if it wasn't for that incident on pit road between him and Larson. +2. Same thing with Hamlin. Both of those drivers run very well at Homestead. Homestead is a track that would favor a guy like Tyler Reddick that likes to get up inches from the wall. He is -16. He's going to have to make some big gain in the points if he wants to have a shot at the title. This is a round of 8 that I honestly could see every one of these drivers having a legitimate shot. We know Larson, he's good. Byron, we know I shouldn't say he's safe, but we know he can produce a really good run at Homestead and possibly get another win like he did back in 2021. Hamlin and Truex, both former winners. Reddick, you know, we know how good he is at that racetrack. Blaney may be the only one I'm a bit concerned about, but we know Buescher, we've seen him have speed on these 1.5 and even 2 mile racetracks to be able to produce some very strong results. So I'm very interested in seeing what this next gen car can do at a track like Homestead with the competition of the playoffs, like the field that we have here in 2023. But those are my thoughts on what took place at Vegas. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section down below. It's a bit of a shorter review than normal, and that's mainly because I don't really have much to say. Again, it was a race that was really good. Good, solid racing, but not much to really explain. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know, like I said, in the comment section down below. That's next time. My name is Jett from MDK. Congratulations to Kyle Larson, your winner at Las Vegas.